Hope Channel, changing lives.
You're welcome once again to the Teens Hour of the Hope Virtual Revival. I'm Kofi, your host, and today we are discussing the topic managing relationships with the opposite sex. Today I have with me my co-host Cynthia, Dinora, and our very special guest, whom Cynthia will introduce to us shortly. Cynthia, please can you tell us more about our special guest?
Okay. Today we have a very special guest in our midst, and she's in the person of Mrs. Mimonti Odonko. Yeah, she's Mrs. Mimonti Odonko, and she's the Associate Communication Director for EWT, Encounter with the Truth, if you don't know that. And she's also a counselor. But before we start the ball rolling, we are going to give you our call lines and then our WhatsApp line. This is our call line 030-295-9065. 030-295-9065. You can WhatsApp us your messages on 055-96-80066. 055-96-80066. You can go live on Facebook and on YouTube and watch us at Hope TV Ghana. Mommy, the floor is yours.
Okay. So this morning, together with the teens, we are going to look at handling relationship with the opposite sex. I want to start by saying that God started relationship, and he started this in the Garden of Eden when he created Adam and Eve. He had a relationship with Adam, and then he later created Eve so that they can be together. So God began relationship between male and female was started by God, because he said it wasn't good for man to be alone, so he made a helpmeet for man. And this means that humans have been naturally made to be together. Human beings have been naturally made to exist together, to stay together, and things are not exempted. And as we said earlier, relationships started in the Garden of Eden with God, Adam, and Eve. So in actual fact, there is nothing wrong with having a relationship with the opposite sex, because that is what God created from the very beginning. But today we'll be looking at the teens aspects. So going back to the topic, handling relationship with the opposite sex, we are looking at relationship within the teen age range. So firstly, who is a teen? Who is a teen? Typically, a boy enters puberty around the age of 11 and a girl around the age of 10. But the word teen seems to imply that those within the in years, so like 13, 14, 15, and so on, are regarded as teenagers. But for today's topic, we will look at those within, maybe beginning from the age of 10 to 19. Legally, by 18, one is considered by law as an adult. So you are expected to take decisions for which you are held responsible for. So whatever decision you take at that age, you are held responsible for it. So you have to along the way, especially with the group that we are handling today. So the challenge here is, how can this relationship be handled at the teen age, stage of life? We'll look at some of the things that occur during the teenage stage in life. One of the major things that occur during this stage is the body awareness of the teen that is growing. The teen becomes acutely aware of his or her developments, okay, physically and otherwise. We will explain this as I go on. Then, secondly, the teen begins to exhibit certain habits. Some of these habits are sometimes rebellious. Sometimes the teen gets into negative habits like lying and the teen does certain things to test his or her boundaries. If I do this, will I go scot-free? Then it means that, oh, I have the opportunity to repeat it. So the teen gets into this kind of habits. And then teens get into conflict with parents, sometimes because of the amount of freedom that they want to exercise, and then the amount of freedom that parents don't want them to exercise. So they have conflict areas. And we'll look at some of these points as I explain further. Teens are also pressurized into drugs and sexual relationships. So as we go on, we'll see how these points can help teens develop healthy habits or relationship. So how do you develop a healthy relationship as a teenager? Using the points that I mentioned above. First, the awareness of self. You become conscious that you are growing. You see that as a young lady, your breasts are becoming bigger than they used to be. Your shape is curving out, and then you are looking more prettier than you used to. You become conscious of certain features in your body, and you begin to admire these features. Then for the male, he sees that something has happened to his voice. Maybe he wakes up one morning and feels a slight pain in the throat, and then the voice has changed. He sees that as time goes on, he begins to grow hair on his face, so his beard starts coming out, and then his chest starts widening out. So he begins to admire himself. So physically, the teen will want to project him or herself by dressing in certain ways. They will also want to have privacy, so they demand privacy. So sometimes you see that at this stage, when you have teenagers in the home, they go to the bathroom or to use the washroom privately. They lock the door because they don't want anybody to come and see what they are seeing happening to them. Their dressing changes. They don't want even the parents to choose their clothes for them, because it's very impossible for their mother or father to say, oh, wear this clothes, do this. They want to make their own choices. Then they have concern over the physical development that they are seeing. Some which they think they wish would be in a certain way, they feel disappointed a little bit about it, that, oh, this person has a nice shape, she has a bigger breasts, I wish I had like hers, or this guy's voice is deep and mine is not yet as deep as that. My friend is growing some beard, I wish I. So you sometimes see that they have some small beard there, and then they'll be pulling it or combing it, like forcing the thing to actually grow, you know. So what I want to say here is that as your body develops, you become conscious of how good and beautiful you are and what God has made. So when you look at this, you appreciate God's doing. So if you find yourself looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing what you are turning to become, you have to appreciate yourself. So all this can affect your step into entering into a relationship. But you establishing a relationship with God and parents without looking down on yourself can help you to build confidence in you. So like the Bible tells us in Psalm 139 verse 14, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You see how God has made you special, and then you put value on that. Then you can develop healthy relationships, you know, by respecting the boundaries that has been set for you. And even you can set boundaries for yourself. Let's look at some of the boundaries. One of them is time boundaries. You know, you live with your parents, and one of the things that brings conflict between parents and teen is time boundaries that have been set. So there's a time when teens want to, you know, go out, they want to do things on their own, and parents are like, when you go out, you need to be back to the house by 6 p.m. and now they are restricted, even though they wish to stay out a bit late. And for those of us who are in our 50s and above, I think we're not brought up to stay out late. But today, the young people think that, oh, life begins in the night, you know. But then, so because of these set boundaries, sometimes there are frictions between parents and teens. But we need to respect these boundaries in order to have healthy relationship with our parents and then our friends. So then let's look at physical boundaries. You have friends, boys, girls, all mixed up, okay? What boundary do you put between yourselves, or what boundary have you set for yourself that your friends cannot go over? For instance, how much allowance will you give to your friend to touch your body? Is your friend, any of your friends, allowed to touch, say, your waist or your breast? When they hug you, are they allowed to squeeze you so tight? How do you allow, I mean, what have you set? When you meet your friends, are they supposed to give you pecks on the cheek or on the lip? Are they supposed to hold your hands all the time? These are boundaries to your physical self, your body. You set boundaries. So to what extent is your body available for others? Then we look at digital boundaries. Of course, these days, almost everything that is privileged has a phone. And things are texting, they are sexting, and they are sending pictures. You know, sending text messages that contain words that when you read them, something happens to your body. And sometimes the words in it have sexual connotations. They have sexual words, you know. So these boundaries that you need to set for yourself, are you allowing yourself to send those messages? Are you allowing others to send you those messages? When those messages come, what do you tell your friends? That, oh, we are friends, but, you know, if you are going to be sending me ABC, please, I don't want those kind. Do you do that, or you just allow it? To have healthy relationship, you need to set boundaries for what you send out to others, and especially what others send into your phone digitally. And then what you expose yourself to digitally. When you go online, what do you go to click to access the information you go to access online? What do you click to access that information? Sometimes you'll be working on something else and things pop up. You know, you have the choice to either click it or you leave it. So what boundaries do you set for yourself? Then we have emotional boundaries. Who do you talk to when you need to talk to someone about your feelings? When do you do that? How often do you do that? How much of your feelings do you open to other people? So when rules are broken, when set boundaries or rules are broken, and you know you are not following what your parents have set for you, it creates frictions between you and your parents. And then when the boundaries you set between you and your friends are broken, it also brings stress between you and your friends. So you need to set boundaries in order to avoid situations that will ruin the relationships that you have with your parents. God, first of all, your parents, and then your boy-girl, you know, relationship. Then social pressure and acceptance. Every young person wants to be accepted. They look at themselves and they feel like, oh, I want to belong. I want to be in this group. And or let me say most young people, you know, they want to feel that they are not left out in anything. But what kind of groups do you join or avail yourself to in order to have a healthy relationship with others? Joining groups that have positive, similar behavioral patterns with you helps you to develop positively. And you don't have to be pressured into negative habits, such as watching pornography, stealing, being truant, drinking alcohol, or trying those things because when you do these things, they become addictive, and it takes a longer effort to get you out of, you know, negative addiction. So what kind of groups do you join in order to have a healthy relationship? Conflict with parents over amount of freedom. Parents have concerns, teens have needs, and these needs have to be met. Teens think that they are old enough to take care of themselves. You are in a stage where you are not a child anymore. You are also not an adult. But so the teen thinks that, oh, I can take care of myself. But parents think that you are not there yet. You know, so while parents want you to spend time with family, you want to spend time with friends. And so, but you have conflicts with parents and friends when all these things are not met the right way. And these conflicts, of course, can be handled and resolved when teens and parents or friends have open discussions, and then there's an understanding where everybody, you know, follows what will help make the relationship go on. Pressure on sex and drugs. Teen relationship is supposed to be void of sex. There should be that understanding, but about do's and don'ts. And this is from a Christian background, because the secular world may not buy that. But we are looking at this from a Christian background. So as Christians, it is our relationship, boy-girl relationship, is supposed to be void of sex. So when there's an understanding about that, then you know how to go about the relationship to make it, to maintain a healthy relationship. So things we shouldn't do, like we said earlier, when you set boundaries, you don't touch other people's private parts or where they have asked you not to touch. Okay? And remember that if you have a good relationship with God, it helps you set standards that will help you to be able to control your passions, because at this time you have those feelings coming up. So as we are narrowing into this relationship, it's not like the relationship we are talking about now. It's not like the relationship you have with your parents or your siblings, but something you have with your friends that sometimes comes with a sexual attachment. You know, it has an amorous thing. There's some feeling in you that excites you, you know. So looking at this age range of 18, many things are happening at the same time, and they are happening very fast. You are growing from a child into a man or a woman. Your hormones are preparing you for life itself. So you are not a child, you are not an adult, but you are still metamorphosizing, changing in a stage that is changing. So because you are not a little child, you don't want to be treated like one. Because you are not an adult, you have restrictions not to do some of the things that adults do. You don't want to be called a baby anymore. I have a relative whom we used to call baby. I'll call her Eunice. Even that's not her real name, but Eunice. So baby Eunice. And everybody called her baby Eunice. And then one day she just announced in the house, you know, that she doesn't want to be called baby Eunice anymore, and that now she's a lady, you know. So she doesn't want to accept that she's a baby anymore. She's now a lady. So everybody had to change and call her lady. So from then on till today, we all call her Lady Eunice. So this is it. The teen gets to a stage where he or she feels that he or she has grown to be given that respect as an adult, even though he's yet to reach them. Now this period is a time of impatient desires. You want to get everything that satisfies your eyes. You know, you want to get things that are available to adults, but adulthood seems so far away and you can't wait. You want it now. So sometimes what teens do is that they kind of practice the miniature things that adults do, you know, because they want to be like adults. But let's look at something else. typically a teenager's life, what are the things that are present or are very outstanding in a teenager's life? What are the things that will be going on in a teenager's life? You know, so all things being equal, looking at the age range we picked, this person will be academically maybe from class primary, the primary level class 6 through to maybe SS3 or at most first, second year in the university. So I know some people go to university early, so maybe by 19 they are in their first or second year, you know. So at this stage, what is really crucial in the life of a teenager is education. And this is a stage where you build a strong foundation for your life in future. So what you do with your education during this teenage time determines a lot of what will happen to you in later life. You have a foundation, and if you are able to build on that foundation, then you know your life in future becomes better. So the effort you put into the things you do while you are a teenager, you know, culminates into what you become when you become an adult. So getting into a sensual relationship will kind of put a lot of demand on you, which sometimes some teenagers will not be able to handle because of the responsibility involved. It's not easy to be in a relationship. There are a lot of emotions in it. There's a lot of stress. There are a lot of demands that you have to meet. You know, even with adults, it's difficult. And then, you know, so as teenagers, with all your physical body changing all the time and all your hormones changing, when you add this sensual relationship to it, how will you be able to handle it so that academically you are able to sail through successfully, build a good foundation for yourself, and then have a better future? So the point is that most things cannot handle the demands of romantic relationship alongside academic or other form of study. Most things. Okay. Then secondly, most parents will not be happy to know that their teenage child, let's say you are 14, okay, they will not be happy to know that you have entered into an amorous relationship. So now their eyes will be so wide on you, and then you also be feeling very uncomfortable in the house, you know. So it is just a normal thing. Those things that the parents want to put in place to make sure that you are doing the right thing make you feel uncomfortable, because they are not comfortable that you have come, you are in a certain stage in life, but you are trying to do things that belong to another stage. Then because of, you know, how the whole amorous relationship is, most things will hide that information from their parents. So you have a lot of things who have passwords on their phones. They don't allow anyone to access their phone. They put very weird passwords that even sometimes, you know, those of us who are born before computer, we don't even know how to operate it very well. But they put very weird passwords on their phone that you, the parent, even if you pick the phone, no matter what you do to it, you can't get access to it. So they keep hiding information of things that they are into because they don't want their parents to know, you know, what they are doing. Then most things will also fall out of love. What they call love, they fall out of it sooner than they are in it, you know, because they have found someone else. The point is, at this stage in life, you are excited about it. So you see a new thing, you want to experiment. You know, when something new comes, music, somebody releases a new song, you want to learn the lyrics, you want to learn how to do the dance, something is released there. Some of us, we don't even know what is going on in the social media. You guys, you know everything. So because you have that impulse to experiment everything, when you are in a relationship, okay, that is amorous, now you see somebody else that you think is better than the one that you are in, you quickly switch. you quickly switch, and then you want to have the new person. So what happens is that they go through a cycle of a phase. You know, they have a crush phase. Then they say, oh, I love you. They are like, you are the only one in the whole world. They come to the third stage, which is the honeymoon stage. It's like, oh, the whole world is somewhere else and I'm here. And then with you, you know, like it's just us. And during that stage, whatever even the parents tell them, they don't want to listen. They are just like their head is all in the sky and they are floating with you in love. Okay? And at a point, they get to the burnt out stage. It's like, oh, we've had this thing for a while. I mean, I'm like, it's becoming some boring. So, you know, I need to do something. And because they are not matured enough to put in a spark in the relationship and they want something new, they think that, oh, I think I'm even a teenager. Why should I be stuck to you? So I have the freedom to break up. So they just break up. Then they find another person. And so teens go through this cycle of what they call love, in and out of love, you know, because of their need for finding excitement to experiments on new things. And in doing this, sometimes they hurt themselves emotionally. And by the time they are ready as adults to actually practice this kind of relationship, the whole heart has been broken. They have broken heart 1, broken heart 2, broken heart 3. The heart is scattered. There is no heart there anymore. You know, so emotionally, it becomes a big problem. So most teens will be feeling guilty that they are doing something they know their parents will not approve of. So will not seek counsel from parents and thereby making mistakes that will affect them in future. Most teens are immature and can't usually differentiate between attraction, infatuation, lust, love, and all that. So they mix up everything and then they end up doing things that they didn't want to do. Maybe from the beginning, they didn't really want to get into problem, but because of what they have involved themselves in, it has now become a problem for them to get into line. Sorry, I just missed my space. Okay, so now because of this, teens have misplaced priorities. You know, you end up neglecting what is important in life, and then you get stuck to things that just are full of feelings, and they are not building your life, you know, very well. Because most teens lack maturity, they end up bringing toxic emotions and negative emotions into their lives, and then the lives of others. You know, what you do doesn't affect you alone. It affects your significant person. So what kind of boy-girl relationships should a teen form? Okay, let's look at 3 points. The first one is that you relate before you date. You relate before you date. So what do I mean by this? What I mean is that first you relate to God. Remember, God started this whole relationship business. So you relate to the one who began the business. Then you relate to your parents, the one through whom you were brought to the world. Before you relate to others, I'll repeat it, you relate to God, you relate to your parents, then you go out. So positive friendships provide support and companionship. It lays a foundation for you to have a better life, including a better romantic relationship in future. Number 2, stay in the circle. At your age, it is very wise that you have a group of friends with whom you relate. So you stay in the circle and you don't go out of the circle. This helps you to build relationship and that is void of sensual feelings. The third point is building blocks. Your life is still changing. So you form friendships that will grow your potentials and your talents, because you are now building your life for future. So to conclude, we have shared some points on how to form healthy relationships. Some of these are in connection with how God started relationship, creating Adam and Eve and bringing us in line with it, who a teen is, some points in a teenager's life, how to develop relationships, and then the major events of a teen's life, the effect of sensual and amorous relationship in the life of a teen, and the kind of boy-girl relationship that a teen is supposed to form. So having heard all this, you know, as a teenager, what is it that you want for yourself in future? What is the benefit of the relationship you want to form with the opposite sex? How far will it lead you in being the person that you want to be in future? Is it important to go into that kind of relationship, or to maintain certain relationships that will build you for a better future? These are questions that you need to answer, and based on that, you can take a decision on what to do when you are forming relationship with the opposite sex. So I think that we can end here, and then we'll continue with the rest of the panel.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Odonko. I've learned so much. I mean, if you notice, you can see my beard growing. But I'd like to remind you that on Friday we have the session. That's tomorrow. Questions Teens Ask. It's on Hope TV, this show, the teens are, and you can get the phone line. Cynthia, please can you tell them the line they should send their messages to on WhatsApp?
Please, you can send us your messages through WhatsApp on 055 96800066, 055 96800066, and you can call us on 030 295 9055, 030 295 9065.
All right, thank you so much, Cynthia. The phone lines are open, so if you have any questions and contributions, you can ask. But you know, the way you, Mrs. Odonko, you're talking, I saw you're taking so many notes.
Yes.
I'm sure you have a lot of questions.
Can you so many questions.
Address them to Mrs. Odonko?
Okay, so my first question is, you know, we know that there are different values as per different families and from country to country. And you said that privacy, some teenagers take it upon themselves and their privacy and all that stuff. I want to know, like, the parents taking care of their children, at what age should they curtail privacy and the nudity of their children? Like, should they separate the male brothers from the female sisters and stuff like that?
Yeah, like, you know, like you said, different environments with cultures and all that. There are situations where some parents don't have that luxury. You know, they may not be able to afford a home that will enable them separate the siblings. So it becomes a bit difficult. But as children grow up, when they get to a certain stage, especially when they get closer to the teenage group, they need to be separated. They need to have separate rooms so that they learn to keep their privacy. But in a situation where a family cannot afford that, then it's good to have the children educated, you know, so that even without educating them, naturally the children begin to cover up. They begin to cover up. So initially, maybe when they go to take their baths, they all go into the bathroom, and mommy or daddy, whoever is bathing them, will bath them one after the other. But at a point, somebody will tell you that she doesn't want to go into the bathroom with the other person. So naturally, they get to a point where they want to cover up. So when they begin to even exhibit those kind of things, the parents becomes aware that it's time to help the child keep their privacy. So there are simple things that can be done. If you cannot afford to have them stay in separate rooms, you can help them sleep at different portions of the house in the room, so that maybe both of them don't sleep on the same bed, but at different sides of the house. So they know that, oh, this is my side of the house, this is my side of the room. You know, so it's important that we do that.
All right.
All right. We have a question in the house, and then it goes, "Hello, my name is Evans, watching from Kumasi. Madam, please, is it normal to have affection for your opposite sex? If yes, then why do we teens hide our feelings from one another?"
You know, God created that in us from the beginning. So it is absolutely normal. In fact, if you don't have that feeling, then there's something not right. It's natural for you to meet a lady or a man, you know, and have something for the person, have a feeling for the person. So it's not out of place. The only thing is that you have to learn to control. At what point do you tell that? I remember that when I was giving the presentation, I said sometimes it's difficult for things to differentiate between lust and infatuation and all that. So sometimes you see somebody, you're just excited, you're just infatuated, there is nothing in it.
All right, thank you so much. We have another question. It says, please, what causes a teenager to have sex with the opposite sex or to masturbate?
Well, before you have sex, it begins in the mind. So first of all, what do you feed your mind with? What things are you putting in your mind? What do you watch? What do you listen to? Like I was saying, when people are texting, some do sexting. Okay? What do you consume? So the things you feed your mind in, those are the things you practice. And before you get to the point where you have sex, you know, we don't have sex in the open. So set boundaries. If you have feelings for someone, which we just said is normal, what will you do so that you don't end up having sex? There are certain things you have to have sex in an enclosed place. You must make sure that you don't go into an enclosed place with the person that you're having some funny feelings with. This is one of the things you can do to prevent yourself from reaching that sexual point.
All right, thank you so much. Please, it seems like you have a caller on the line. Good morning. Thank you for calling on to Hope TV Ghana Teens Hour. Please, your name and your question.
I do say Emmanuel calling from Drobble, German South District.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
Mom was talking about the fact that, you know, the feeling that comes, you cannot handle it, like it's something natural that it just happens. But I want her to give us some tips, some measures that we can undertake to reduce the pressure, the feeling, the urge for sex. You know, there are some things that maybe if you do, it will keep your mind off it. And that's what I want to know.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, like I said earlier, first of all, feed your mind with the things that are right, with God's things. You know, feed your mind with God's things. When you feed your mind with God's things, you will not do such things. Let me give an example. If we all belong to groups on WhatsApp, you know, we have WhatsApp platforms that we belong to. Now, if you are in a particular platform that you notice that the information that is put in on that platform is something that is going to poison you emotionally, why stay there? You know, so these are steps that you can take to avoid a situation that will make your mind to be fed with negative things. And then God has given us the power of choice. There is a will in us to do God's will. Now, if you desire in your mind to do what is right, God gives you the ability to do that. So, one, you look at what you feed your mind and what you desire. Then with that, you are able to control your feelings. The feelings will come because that God has put it there. But you see, let me give an example. When we decide to fast, an announcement is made that we are going to fast for maybe 3 days or 1 week. It's an announcement. Now you take a decision that you want to fast. It's very interesting to know that the first day you start the fast, you'll be so hungry. You become so conscious of the fact that you are hungry, you know.
Yeah.
And then, but you don't go to eat. Why? Because you have taken a decision not to eat, you know. So your ability to overcome this feeling is your will, your decision, the decision that you have taken in order to do what is right, and God empowers you to do what is right.
All right, thank you so much. Please, it seems like you have a caller on the line. Good morning. Thank you for calling Hope TV Teens. Your name and your question, please.
I want to contribute.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, you can go ahead.
Please, my question is that contribution about the opposite sex, and it goes about dating. And dating is not about having sex with the person. That is the only fault that the teenagers are facing. So my contribution is that they should stop engaging themselves in sexual intercourse. That's my only contribution.
All right, thank you so much. We are very grateful. Please, we have a contribution from Elder Philbert. Elder Philbert says that as a parent, you have to give sexual education to our kids. Our kids watch everything on the social media, and if we refuse to educate them, they fall victim to the bad side of life. By Elder Philbert. Another question from Sunshine from Kumasi. She says, my question is that if a teenager gets angry with the parents, what can be done to calm the teenager down? Sunshine from Kumasi.
You decided to get angry. Getting angry is a choice. Okay, so you can decide that I won't get angry. But when you make the decision to get angry, what you want somebody else to come and calm you down. You understand? So, well, we have anger tantrums, and there are ways to handle that. So when you get angry for whatever reason, you should know that your anger can lead you to do things or say things that you didn't want, you regret later on. So naturally, when you get angry, which is a normal thing that can happen to anyone, you should take steps to make sure that you don't do or say something which you regret later. Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Please, I have a question. It's from L. L says that, can you be in a positive relationship in which we now use the term as dating, but not as in a negative aspect? And I know some couple who started this relationship when they were teens, and now they are married thanks to that. We thank God for them. Please, his question is that, can you be in a positive relationships in which now we term dating? Is it possible to be in a positive one?
Yes, it's possible. There, you know, when I was giving the presentation, I said most things. It means that there are some people who are married today who started, you know, in their teens. And like the presentation we had in the presentation, you set boundaries. What are your priorities? What do you want to achieve? I have feelings for you. Now we are in this level of life. Before we can exercise whatever we feel for ourselves, we need to reach a certain stage. What should we be doing so that we can achieve that stage and then be able to do what we need to do? So while you are a teenager or a young person, you meet somebody that you think you are falling in love with. There are things you can do in order to build that relationship to a point that you don't have to get into negative habits or behaviors. It's very possible that that can happen. So you can have positive relationships. You don't, dating is not always negative. And even courtship doesn't have to come with sex. Dating, courtship, whatever, it doesn't have to come with sex. And one other thing I want to say is that even those who are adults, married for years, also get tempted. So marriage is not a solution to those kind of things. It's not like, oh, when I get married, then I'll stop. No. People who are married also get this kind of challenges. So that is why you hear that somebody who maybe is married goes to have a relationship with somebody outside his or her marriage. So it's possible that even within the marriage circle, you can still fall victim to that. So if you're able to help yourself to train your body to respect the boundaries, then when you get into the marriage, you'll be able to remain faithful.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Donko. Please, you have a caller on the line. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Your name and your contribution or question, please.
Yeah, I'm called Samson, calling from Zabsegu, Northern Region.
Okay, thank you for calling all the way from the north. You're
Yeah,
grateful.
yeah. I admire your discussions.
All right, we
And
thank
so
God
I
for
want to
that.
have some small contributions to you. You see, you the young boys, before somebody have to do something, you have to conceive it in your mind. And so my idea, my advice is that you should not conceive any biased mind in your mind concerning towards sex. You know, those who have not married, if you see a girl or a woman and you have feelings like you have sex with the person, then by and by you have to do it. And so, as to control yourself, you must not conceive any biased mind in your mind. That's my small contribution.
All right, thank you so much. We are very grateful for your contribution. It's very helpful.
Okay.
Please, we have another question. It says, please, can teenagers who are dating abstain from sexually related activities?
Of course. The first thing is that, you know, from biblical points, God's view is that you are not supposed to have sex outside marriage. So that's it. Then you put in the effort, you put in the boundaries, you put in the effort in order not to do that which is against God's will. So it's very possible.
All right, thank you so much. We have another question. Please, Cynthia, can you read it for us?
All right. There's a particular question I have seen here, and it says, I'm already in a relationship with my opposite sex, engaging in some of the things you stated, which are very bad. Now I now know that I should set boundaries for myself, be it physical, digital, social, and mental. So should I tell my opposite sex that we are breaking up?
You see, why are you breaking up?
Please, before you continue, I think we have a caller on the line. Good morning, and thank you for calling Hope TV Ghana Teens Hour. Is your name and your question, please? Hello, good morning. Please, your name and your question, please.
Yeah. Please, I'm here.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah. Morning, yeah. Please, I'm here.
Yes, please, you can hear you.
Please, that you are 18 years. Are you, can you be now?
Pardon me, please, we can't hear you too clearly. Can you speak out, please?
Please, you are 18 years. Can you be now?
Okay, please, Mrs. Odonko, please.
I didn't get what.
Please, can you repeat yourself? All right, thank you. Please, can you relocate? We'll answer later. Please, we have another question from the person. Rejoice says, is it normal to choose the opposite sex as your best friend?
There is nothing wrong with having a best friend, you know, as the opposite sex. There is nothing wrong with that. The point is that, what is your motive for the friendship? Why are you in the relationship? Because sometimes you can have somebody of the opposite sex who will help you achieve a high academic level. You know, you can be, I know a young man in university who was not doing very well. And a lady saw his results and said, what bon papa we take a say uti ho na emba small girls ni na I score high points now uti ho. So he became friends with her, and she helped him to study, planned how to study, and he excelled academically. So the motive behind the relationship is what is important. So there is nothing wrong with having your best friend, you know, from the other side. But the only thing is that you have to be careful to set boundaries, to know what the reason for your relationship is.
All right, thank you so much. We have more questions. We have a lot of questions on this topic. Please, he said, good day, Hope TV. My little contribution is that dating, of course, is not all about sex. But let's remember one thing, that every stage of life has its demands. Thus, for teenagers between 13 to 19 years, I would advise that you focus on your education more than dating and relationships. Build healthy friendships and platonic relationships and boost your esteem and self-worth. There are many years ahead for dating and courtship. Even those of us above 20 years, dating didn't work for us in the university because we are not mature enough. So personally, I would not advise that. Jennifer Thank you so much, Jennifer, for your contribution on this topic. Cynthia, please, any more questions?
Yeah, I think there's another question. I said, hi, I'm Isaac from Ejiso, and my question is, we the teenagers, we know being in a relationship is an elder stuff, but when I try discussing it with my friends, they would say it's normal, but they have secret relationship. So I want to know that, is it normal as we say it is? I didn't really get. Is it normal? He's trying to say, even if they're having like secret relationship, is it normal?
You see,
and mommy, please, before you answer this question, I want to ask, at which age are we supposed to go into a relationship?
All right, thank you so much, Cynthia. Before you get into that, you have a caller on the line. Good morning and welcome to the Hope TV Teens Hour. Please, what's your name and your question, please?
My name is Emmanuel from Kumasi.
Thank you so much for calling. Please, you may go ahead.
My name is Emmanuel. My question is it right for us to watch romantic movies as in...
Everyone is different, you know. Your ability to handle something is different from the way somebody else will handle it. So do you have the ability to handle the feelings, the responsibilities that come with an amorous relationship at a certain level? So it depends on your maturity level, you know. Then you can say that, okay, at this point, I'm ready for such things. So if you are not ready, you don't force yourself, like the other question you asked. Yes. Somebody was saying that the friends are saying it's normal. Yes. That is the pressure that comes at your stage. You see, it's the pressure that you get. It's like, oh, my friends are having girlfriends, so I have to also have a girlfriend. It's just the pressure of the stage. So do you do things because your friends are doing it? So these are some of the things. It is not, you are not going to go into a relationship because all your friends have girlfriends. So you must also have a girlfriend. What are you going to do with the girlfriend?
All right. Thank you so much. Dinara, please, do you have any questions?
Finally. How boy. Okay, I had a lot of questions, but since they are being answered as we go on, this question, I want you to throw more light on the fact that when you tell them that, like, God doesn't want premarital sex, they tell us that before you buy a car, you must give it a test drive to see if it works. So they must engage in premarital sex before they get married. Can you throw more light on?
Okay, actually, when we do counseling, you know, from the Christian perspective, we use biblical principles, and with God, that is totally out of the way. So, but with secular counseling, these things are looked at from a different point. You know, so sometimes with a secular situation, when you go for such things, the counselor might help you to look at how you can manage your relationship while you are having sex with outside marriage. But when it comes to the things of God, it is something that God doesn't condone, okay? And He has also given us the ability to control the passions that He has given to us. So we have that power within us to control what God has given to us as a gift in order to live a better life. Now, if we go to buy a car, and everybody who comes to buy the car takes the car and says, oh, okay, I've gone for a ride, like I went through the motorway and I came back and I heard some chick sound, so I don't like it. The person brings the car. The next person comes to, by the time about 10 people test the car, is it still new? Mm-hmm. It's not new, you see. So basically, God has given us principles to live by. And when you want to get married, it's very important that you go through counseling. It's very important. During the counseling stage, you'll be made to do all the kinds of tests that you are supposed to do legally and through God's way, medically and all that. Then you know, emotionally and all that. You do all those tests, then it helps you understand the person before marriage. So you don't need to practice sex before marriage, because sometimes when this is done, it affects the marriage relationship. the actual marriage relationship. So it kind of makes people not to trust each other, because if I was able to sleep with you before we had sex, then it means that, sorry, before we got married, then it means that even in the marriage, it's possible that you can go sleep with somebody else. So it kind of brings some kind of level of mistrust. And then it also reduces the level of respect that you have for each other. Because when you get married and you get to see each other and know, sometimes the respect comes down. But if you start doing those things before the marriage comes on, it also affects the marriage relationship, the actual marriage relationship.
All right, thank you so much. Please, I have a very interesting question from Ibrahim from Dublin. He says, I'm in a relationship and the girl told me that she doesn't love me, but she loves my friend, but I'm the one she wants. So I'm confused. So my question is that, should I continue or should I leave? This one is very interesting.
Well, if the person doesn't love you, why does she want you? You know, she doesn't love you, but she wants you. Is it that she's using you? Do you want to continue to be used? Or do you think that for her wanting you, there is something that you've been giving to her that makes her to want you? Do you want to keep giving her that thing even though she doesn't love you? These are the questions you should answer. When you get answers to them, then you can take a decision whether to stay or to leave.
All right, thank you so much.
It might not be that the girl doesn't love him. Maybe it's just lust. Maybe he has seen this guy and then he thinks, oh, maybe he's nicer than mine. So I'm like, maybe it's not that feeling. So they should just take it easy. Or
you know, when we were doing the presentation, we had this a cycle, you know, where you get into different phases, you know, and then at a point it's like, oh, I'm even bored, I'm tired of this relationship, and I think I have the right to get out. So let's break up. Then you break up, then you start another one. So the cycle is probably what, you know, is going on. So you have to answer the questions I've asked you. Whatever you are giving to the lady, she says she doesn't love you. Do you want to continue giving her that thing, or even though she doesn't love you, and still remain in the relationship?
All right, thank you so much. We've had so many questions today. Unfortunately, we couldn't answer all of them, but that's why we have the questions teens ask tomorrow. Questions that you may not know, your parents may not know about, things that you see going on in society, even during the course of the week. Questions that I couldn't ask during the program, and we'll answer all of them tomorrow. They can and will be answered tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Please, Mrs. Odonko, any final remarks? Anyone you want to say shout out to?
Okay, I want to say that it's very, very, very natural. In fact, what God has given to us in a form of feelings is very good. It's a good gift. And God expects us to use every good gift He has given us in the right way. And we can use it. We can use it. So what I would say is that before you get into any form of relationship, you know, whatever level it is, first of all, have a relationship with God. Your relationship with God gives you a foundation for all relationships. And that will help you with amorous relationships. You'll be able to have a very good time using all the beautiful feelings that God has given us the right way. And I pray that every teenager who has decided to let God rule in his or her life will have that gift of ability to overcome the things that are not of God, so that by His grace you all, you know, live happy lives, and at the end of the day it will be to the glory of God and your blessing.
All right, thank you so much. Dinora, anyone you want to say shout outs to, or any final remarks to our friends who are listening to us?
I just want to say that our actions become our habits, and our habits become our attitude. And our attitude depends a lot on what we become and what happens to us in the future. So the little things you do that you think is like not important or it doesn't hold any value, it's normal. We should keep it in mind that it will follow us as we go on in life. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Cynthia, any last shout outs?
I would like to say happy belated birthday to my little auntie, Barbara Lajo, and then her mom, and a happy birthday to Felix.
All right, thank you so much. Before we go, I'd like us to take our Bibles and read 1 Corinthians chapter 19 and 20. It says, "Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own? For you were bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and your spirit, which are God's." So let us remember that whatever we do, we should glorify God through it. And whatever relationship we should get into, make sure it glorifies God. Thank you for tuning in to us today, and we hope to see you tomorrow on the segment Questions Teens Ask. God bless you.